mean, you didn't record my 89 score as part of this.
There you just
It
did.
is now,
You
yeah.
just did.
It's now, yeah, you did it now.
Well, The Graduate's a 1967 American independent romantic comedy drama directed by Mike Nichols, written by Buck Henry and Calder Willingham, based on a 1963 novella by Charles Webb. Dustin Hoffman, recent college graduate, Mrs. Robinson, and Bancroft, Katharine Ross, her daughter. Soundtrack by Simon and Garfunkel, written by Paul Simon. It was the highest grossing film of 1967 in North America.
Wow.
Adjusted for inflation, its gross is 857 million. Now, what I looked up was that it made real time 105 million. Received 7 nominations for the Academy Awards and 1 for Best Director. The cost on the movie was $3 million, the budget.
Wow.
We should have them run the transit system.
Yeah, no kidding. I hope that Santa Barbara's transit system got a big royalty for that picture
Yeah,
behind
that bus.
Jeff.
That bus, yeah.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman made, hang on a second here, $20,000.
Wow.
After taxes, he netted 4,000 and went back to living on the state of California after that.
What?
Wow.
How?
He was 30.
Oh,
Well, but he was nowhere in his film career.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you make 20,000 and you pay 16 in taxes?
No, and living expenses as well. Apparently, he had to find his own lodging while the movie was being made.
Wonder what he got paid for the next movie.
yeah, he's a
I
bad
don't know.
Well,
negotiator.
wasn't it, I'm sure, Mike, Charles Grodin was supposed to do it?
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I'll get to that in just a minute.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
all the people that they wanted for this thing.
Mhm.
Included, well, they really wanted Mike Nichols. They had a terrible time getting it produced. Everybody turned it down. Finally, Lawrence Terman did it. And that was only because he wanted Mike Nichols, because Elizabeth Taylor wanted Mike Nichols to direct her and Richard Burton in Virginia Woolf. Mike Nichols made 150 out of it. Doris Day turned down the offer to be Mrs. Robinson. Shelley Winters, Ingrid Bergman, Eva Marie Saint, Ava Gardner, Patricia Neal, Susan Hayward, Deborah Carr, Rita Hayworth, Lana Turner, and Geraldine Page.
Wow.
Wow.
None of those would have done it anywhere near like Anne Bancroft.
I don't think
Right.
so.
She
No.
was phenomenal. Yeah.
She did well.
Doris
But-
Day said it offended her sense of values. Really, Leanna?
Well, no pillow talk.
So yeah, instead of Hoffman, they wanted to cast Robert Redford and Charles Grodin, but they didn't see Redford as being the downtrodden loser type, and Charles Grodin said it wasn't enough money.
Right.
But Harrison Ford also auditioned for it. Burt Ward, Robin, was offered the part, but he was already committed to Batman and Robin.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
I thought some of those side things were pretty interesting.
Yeah.
they
The
are.
story revolves around Benjamin coming home from college in the East, where he was apparently a cross-country star and other track star. Came back to Pasadena and didn't really know what to do with his life. ultimately had an affair with Mrs. Robinson and was forced by his parents and Mr. Robinson to take their daughter out. And that became the second half of the movie. So, what else?
While you're between thoughts, I just want to compliment you on your propeller hat you're wearing tonight. Looks good.
Yeah.
The next movie is Animal House.
As I mentioned, it was nominated for 7 awards. It won Best Director, but in BAFTA, it won Best Film, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Editing, Most Promising Newcomer for Dustin Hoffman. In the Golden Globes, it won Best Director, Most Promising Newcomer for both Hoffman and Ross, and Best Original Score written for a picture. No, I'm sorry, that was for a Grammy. It also won a Grammy. So it was a pretty highly decorated film. I thought it was interesting that Best Director nominee was Mike Nichols. Other nominees were Bonnie and Clyde, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, In Cold Blood. The nominee for Best Actor that won over Hoffman was Rod Steiger for In the Heat of the Night. Spencer Tracy was also there for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Katharine Hepburn won Best Actress for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. So anyway, and Estelle Parsons won Best Supporting Actress for Bonnie and Clyde. And you remember she's the crazy sister-in-law.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that's quite a lot of awards. Everybody's seen this before, I assume. Jeff, Arthur, you would be okay.
Believe it or not, I had never seen this movie.
Me neither. I'd never seen it all the way through. I thought I had.
Really?
Wow.
I've never seen it all the way through.
I saw it 2-3 weeks ago when I was searching out movies to suggest for my turn, and I didn't care for it. I mentioned maybe a week or two ago, whenever we got together last, that the Simon and Garfunkel kind of wore thin for me. I watched it again later, and I just love the second time around. I love the nuance in the movie. I was telling Chris earlier today, I talked to her when she was telling me about Karen. On the opening sequence, he arrives on the jet, gets on a moving walkway in the terminal, and he's clearly in a funk and doesn't know what he's going to do and what's going on. And a sailor walks past him, and he looks at that kind of wistfully and asks himself, I can see, is that going to be what I need to do? And then a hippie walks by him, and he's thinking, maybe that's what I need to do. I mean, he's clearly befuddled by where he is in life, which the movie certainly contains information about that. But the nuance goes all through the movie, I think, just little pieces that Nichols throws in or Buck Henry throws in. You know, Buck Henry had a big SNL career as a writer, but that was later because that didn't start until we're 50 years, so
75.
yeah.
75, 76, yeah.
Katharine Ross went on to make a couple movies like Butch
Sunday.
Cassidy and Sundance Kid and stuff like that. She's in a lot of things. And Remains Beautiful.
And is married to
I don't know.
Chuck Woolery.
Sam,
Sam, oh, good Lord.
Waterston?
yeah.
No.
Peck
He
and
played,
Paw.
no, he plays
He's
all
the-
of the, he played in
that's
Roadhouse.
Sexy.
He was the bouncer in Roadhouse.
Yeah, Sam, oh God,
The guy with the mustache?
yeah,
Yeah,
sexy.
yeah. He was the
Yeah. Bob
Sam.
Walsh.
kind of, yeah. He was the Marlboro Man at one point.
Yeah.
Elliot, Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Elliott,
Yeah.
that's it, Sam Elliott.
Yep, that's
Uh-huh.
right.
Got the coolest grin.
Yep.
And now he
Great
makes
voice.
commercials
Great voice.
about USAA.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wasn't he in the Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he was the
At the
guy that
bar.
come up and talked to the dude about.
Mhm.
He was the stranger.
That was his character.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I didn't know where you were going with that for a minute, John. You said, and she's married to,
Uh-huh.
who
Yeah.
the hell is it?
Yeah. If you're going to ask a question, no.
You better be in.
Finish it out.
Yeah, it's not trivia.
Well, hell, I had Sam down
You were halfway there.
halfway
Yeah.
there.
You get 50% credit.
Yeah.
To me, the first part of the movie is a little more entertaining than the second part of the movie. I think it drags and it kind of falls away from the confusion and not knowing what Benjamin's going to do with his career. But it's a lot more manic. The bus scene, the whole church scene, really everything from the strip club on kind of moves pretty quick. I love Norman Fell in it.
Mhm.
Cast perfectly.
He was
Uh-huh.
good. Yeah.
I guess he went on to take that role for a number of years in Three's Company.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think the thing you hit on where he sees the sailor and thinks that's a career path, and he sees the hippie and thinks that's a life path. To me, that defined the movie. He was stuck right there. He was coming home with an education from the East, and people were throwing all sorts of job stuff at him, but he didn't want to be trapped in any of those cubicles.
mhm.
And to me, that was the essence of the movie is, and it's perfect in a place in time in 1967. There was one way to go or the other way to go. You know,
Mhm.
that was kind of
Right.
a dividing line. And I thought that's, it probably
Yeah.
resonated with audiences on both sides. But I thought that was a genius of it. He was walking a line between counterculture and super conservatism. And we watched him struggle through that. And meanwhile, had sex on the side.
And in 1967, it had to be an awakening coming from school on the East Coast to the middle of California and also Northern California,
Right.
where the whole world was changing.
Yeah,
But
there were so many
the people he went
cultural-
back to see in California, they were trying to push him onto a more traditional.
Yeah, plastics. Yeah.
back
Yeah, yeah.
plastic.
He wasn't
That's why
exactly exposed to Summer of Love, you know?
Yeah.
Right. I
Which,
think,
and that was 67 was.
Right.
oh my gosh, there were so many cultural shifts that year and that time that you can see why anybody would be confused. You've got, between civil rights and the assassinations and everything that was happening in 67. And even if you look at all the movies that it was up against, also Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, all
Yeah.
these movies
Heat
were
of the
all
Night.
about, all
Yeah.
about cultural.
Civil
then
rights.
When you come out of, I think anybody coming out of college, or I shouldn't say anybody, but it seems like it's a coming of age, classic coming of age, that you don't have the emotional intelligence, the emotional security to know what you're going to do. You don't know which way to go. And that's why it was so good. And he was so good, I thought, at showing that and he was so deadpan, but that deadpan inside was like, what the hell am I going to do? I really, I hadn't seen it in 40 years or 50, whatever it was. But I remember at the time thinking, God, that was, well, you guys, did you see it originally? You were
Yeah.
14 maybe? Were you 14 or so?
Yeah. I said last time that I had seen it. I wasn't even allowed out of the house at the time, so
Oh,
I'm sure I didn't see it. And I realized I hadn't seen it in its entirety until now.
Oh my.
Just scenes.
It's so good.
Yeah, I saw it. I remember, I just remember it being so interesting. And even to this day, what I love most is that it's there's only a few films that you say one word and everybody knows exactly the
Mhm.
movie you're talking about. So yeah,
Well, if you guys
I
don't
really-
mind, you can all kick in how you felt about it. But Chris, if you'd read how Karen's comments,
Karen, sure, I'll be glad to share.
some
So,
of it to me reflects again on the nuance in the thing, and it hits you like a slap in the face. But I didn't pay that much attention to what she's talking about in some places.
says, tell Mike I enjoyed watching The Graduate again, although back in the late 60s when it was released, Elaine was the character I related to. Now it's Mrs. Robinson. Was she a monster? Maybe. But under the circumstances she found herself in, she had agency. Elaine did not, and maybe never would. The ending certainly wasn't a happily ever after, and maybe not even a happy for now. If anyone asks what I mean by agency, I'm using it in the context of social psychology. It's the capacity of individuals to have the power and resources necessary to fulfill their potential when they make choices designed to accomplish their goals. Mrs. Robinson didn't succeed, but she sure as hell put everything she had at her disposal to satisfy her carnal desires while maintaining the social expectations of her class. Not easy for women in the 1960s. So here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. And she has a martini glass. Cheers. And then she said, did you notice that in most every scene, with Mrs. Robinson, she's wearing an animal print? The symbolism is pretty straightforward. She's a predator. But actually, she's the only one of the older generation giving Ben a choice. Everyone else, his parents and her husband included, try to tell Ben what he needs to do. Mrs. Robinson in the seduction scene at her home simply tells him she's available. It's his choice to pursue her. Her high-end animal print costumes communicate wealth and status, but fundamentally, they remind us that she's hyper-focused on her prey, Benjamin. So that's from Karen.
Wow.
That's good.
And I was oblivious to the animal print
Yeah.
concept. I thought that was remarkable.
Yeah, but one of the critics I read said this movie was the greatest depiction of destructive alienation ever committed to film because of the way Benjamin was treated by his parents and the parents' friends, and they're all pushing him to do this and that. And by the way, plastics, I spent 26 years in the plastics industry. Not that has anything to do with this movie, but just the point. But I mean, this movie is considered a generational masterpiece, as someone said, and it ripens with age, and it certainly does. I see this a lot different now than I did way back whenever it was that I saw it. But I loved seeing him running, because of the fact that he was this long distance runner. And when he took off running in the movie, I was like, oh yeah, he's got this. He can do this because he's a long distance runner. But
you see some of these running scenes that people do and they're horrendous. But I thought this looked like a runner.
Yeah, exactly.
He did Marathon Man too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did. Okay.
I was running.
I read something about they did that one shot with a really long telephoto lens, so it looked like he was, he's running really fast, but it didn't look like he was making any progress. And that was, I guess, the concept they were trying to get across, is that he was really struggling to get there, and it took him a long time.
Make it. Just a little funny, the scene where Hoffman cups Bancroft's breast and then he's banging his head against the wall. Well, the truth is that he was improvising because he was laughing, and that was the only way he could cover it up. and the cameras kept rolling. That was not part of the script. So I found that humorous. But the music, The Sound of Silence, Scarborough Fair, April Come She Will, it was kind of good to hear those again. They're not on any of my lists on Spotify, but it was good to listen to them in the movie. So
Do you guys understand the words of those songs? I mean, I
no.
had the, I was watching the subtitles. I was like, what the hell does that mean?
They just
don't know.
pulled those songs in and kind of squeezed them into specific spots. I don't think, Mrs. Robinson obviously was clearly written for the movie, but I think Paul Simon had a bunch of other songs and they were kind of like, well, let's see where we can put these. It'll fit. I don't think, he's responsible for the soundtrack, but I don't think he did that as a thematic work per se.
No, it was supposed to be Here's to You, Mrs. Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Ah,
That's the song. And they had him change it for the movie.
yeah. Didn't he almost not do it too?
Yeah, they commissioned him for 3 songs. He only finished 1. And that one. The others were just in his catalog.
Although the timing of Hello Darkness, just as the lights got turned out in the hotel room.
Yeah.
They
said the songs were used for pacing.
Well, the Hello Darkness, my old friend, that was used every time he went back into an isolated spot.
Yeah.
They did it also when he was in the water, and they did it in the bus scene at the end. Because I was reading about it, all these years I thought, oh, here's a movie with a happy ending, he got the girl, they rode off into the sunset, and then I started reviewing it, and that's not what happened at all. He kind of ended in the same place he began, like lost and isolated.
Now what do I do?
Hi, Michael Mahoney.
Hey, how are you? Sorry, I had to reboot Zoom, so that's what took me.
Wow.
So, Mike, did you say you didn't like the soundtrack on the movie? Is that what you said earlier, Mike?
I thought it got overused. It got really repetitive.
Got a little old because it was the same song. I guess I was just looking for more soundtrack difference. I understand why I was using it because it's so character related.
This gave me a strong dose of Roger Foster. I don't know if you guys remember him or not, but he and I played some of those songs together when we were in high school, and it's really nostalgic for me.
The Roger Foster?
I don't know. He was from Rockport.
He's in Columbia.
He's in Columbia. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, he was kind of the Roger Foster.
Was it? Were you guys a Simon and Garfunkel type duet?
Kinda, yeah.
Which part did you play, Jeff, or sing?
I was the poor musician. Yeah. Roger had a nice voice, and he could pick up songs really quickly, and had kind of a charming way about him. And he was later became a theater design guy, and was turned wood and turned stone and all kinds of other stuff. And he passed away suddenly from probably from a PE several years ago, but he was a good friend.
I don't know what a PE is.
Pulmonary embolus.
Oh.
What we're trying to avoid, Wicker.
Yeah.
Avoid those.
So I'm trying to think I'm trying to imagine if this has a place in time. In the movie, Mrs. Robinson is a lot more interesting to me than Elaine. And I can't figure out what the attraction is for Dustin Hoffman. That seems very superficial. Maybe that's why, as you said, the second half of the movie drags. I guess I just don't understand the attraction.
I think he was intimidated by Mrs. Robinson pretty intensely, and Elaine not so much. And there's a scene where he first encounters Elaine, and it's like he lights up. like his love at first sight. And he's 21, so you know his tastes in women are probably more people his age.
Sure.
Yeah, there's the one scene in the hotel, one of the nights in the hotel, where he wants to have conversation, not
Right.
not just sex, and they struggle at that. And that, to me, that was the thing. Sex might have been great, but no relation.
Right.
Well, hadn't they known each other since like grade school or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, their parents were, their fathers were partners of
Yeah, and they
law
were,
partners or whatever.
yeah, they were neighbors, but I think that Benjamin and they went to school together, something like at an early age. They've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. At one point, he said,
Family friends.
I haven't seen you since high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Chris earlier too, there's only 8 years difference between them,
Yeah.
mother and daughter,
Yeah.
in real life.
Oh, Katharine Ross and Anne Bancroft.
Yeah.
Interestingly, maybe some of you picked up on this, Anne Bancroft and Dustin Hoffman both have Emmys, Oscars, and Tonys. They neither one have Grammys. They're just that step away from that
EGOT.
EGOT.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have maybe guessed Hoffman did. I wouldn't have guessed Anne Bancroft was that celebrated, but she obviously was. And in real life, she had a drinking problem also.
Yeah.
They need to do a spoken record or spoken word record.
Yeah, to pick up a Grammy.
Yeah.
A remake of Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
But she's no longer with us.
So it's
Yeah.
too late, huh?
Yeah. Too late.
Hey, there's always AI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Well,
Hologram. Yeah.
I'd say if you have a Tony and an Oscar and an Emmy, you haven't done too badly in the entertainment
Yeah,
world.
exactly. Exactly.
No, you've done well.
Two interesting little cameos. Anybody pick up on who the rooming guy was when Dustin Hoffman moved up to Berkeley that said, "You want me to call the police?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I recognized him at the time, but who was it?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
I spotted that. Couldn't
Okay.
remember right now.
Yeah.
Uncredited.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of the bellhops that whenever they were walking through the hotel and everybody was saying hello to Mr.
Gladstone.
Gladstone
Yeah.
was Mike Farrell, who played BJ Honeycutt in MASH.
Oh, no
Okay.
way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real
See,
tall.
I recognized Dreyfus. I missed Farrell.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's quick hitter. I'm sure all he said was hello, Mr. Gladstone. And Dreyfus just said, "You want me to call the police?" So
It's a start.
yeah, those two guys haven't done too badly either.
That's right.
No.
Mahoney, had you seen this before?
Yeah, several times. I've been thinking for several days whether or not I saw it in the theater originally, and I believe I did. I believe I did, and I've seen it a number of times since. Going back to the point we were talking about just a little while ago. My perspective on this changed a lot. When you're younger, you're identifying with the Benjamin Braddock character. This time, I came away thinking what a predator Anne Bancroft's character was. That she was plying on a pretty naive kid, and just rolled him over.
Yeah, it's interesting.
If you miss,
Say it again, Mike.
I said, see what happens, wit, if you miss. We were just talking about that that's what Karen Walsh had said.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very true.
Sure.
Interesting, though, to think about the how Dustin Hoffman looked in the photograph in the back of the bus behind Jeff Cope versus that opening scene where he's at the airport and he's walking down and his hair's all nice and fresh faced and he's clean shaven and that transition through that, I don't know, whatever it was supposed to be, 4 or 5 weeks, 6 or 8 week period.
But that's one of the few ones where they're smiling, because they
Uh-huh.
generally are not smiling back there.
Have you guys talked about the ending?
We did a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Go ahead.
what about it, Mike? I mean,
I mean, it was just, and I don't know if I noticed it or thought too much about it when I've seen the film in the past, but I mean, they end up with going from big grins to looks of puzzlement, maybe even kind of fear of what do we do now? And
yeah, and then Hello Darkness, my old friend. It starts to play again.
yeah,
He's back in the same place he started. Really,
Exactly.
he's not. He's kind of saved her from the relationship that her parents had, but neither one of them are that happy to be together.
and I don't think that they stay together. I think that it's like a lot of marriages that take place when you're 20, 19, 21, stuff like that.
Didn't she actually get married? I mean, they did the kiss the bride thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
But what now? You think they got married?
No, to
They
the
got
other
married
guy,
to the
they're
guy in
Randy
the
Elaine.
church.
the other guy, yeah.
They kissed. Everything
They-
was formalized.
And they
Yeah.
annul it, they would annul it, but
Yeah. Mrs.
That's
Robinson
nice.
was yelling, "You're too late! You're too late!"
that's right.
It was
Well,
pretty
and he
evil.
was swatting everybody away with the cross.
Yeah, I
There,
know.
definitely some symbolism there too.
And then he locked him in with the cross.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
a prequel
The
to
other-
The Exorcist, wasn't it?
The other when I was reviewing the some of the things on YouTube, they when they're on the bus and they're looking forward, like in Jeff's deal, and they're looking at everybody on the bus. So they showed a picture of that, and so you could sit there and look at it for a little while. Every one of those people was from the older generation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
were.
they turn around, they turn around and there they are. They're looking at, I mean, it's a generational film anyway. They're looking at everybody they've been battling the whole time.
Yeah.
It was
And
very
I
interesting.
think almost every man on that bus has a coat and tie on, or at least a tie, and most people that aren't on buses. I'm probably thinking 1968 or 67, there weren't that many people with coats and ties on a bus.
How about that scene where he is sort of creeping on Elaine and he follows her and then jumps on the bus with her and she's like, "Oh my God." And then
Mhm.
woman sitting next to her is there and he's mashing on her, and the woman next, what a great expression she had on her face. I mean, had to be a fun scene to play.
Well, I mean, he definitely saved her, because whether they had a happy ending or not, because that's something I didn't pick up 40 or 50 years ago, was what a creep this guy she was going to marry was.
Yeah.
He was like, he would go in there and they'd say, did you nail another one? And all that. And so in some ways it doesn't matter that they stayed together or anything like that. I mean,
No.
he saved her though.
Yeah. The frat house scene, kind of.
They
Yes.
look pretty typical.
The frat house scene looked typical.
For when we were in school.
Okay.
I could see it.
Sure did.
Yeah, but What did you think about the way women were portrayed in this movie? That was probably, you know, Elaine, was she like a good role model?
Well, I don't know. Elaine was a good girl. I mean, I don't know women were portrayed the way women were, because women's rights were on the table at that time, of course. So you've got Elaine, who is the good girl. And you can see that in the stripper scene. And then you've got Mrs. Robinson. So you got two ends of the spectrum where Mrs. Robinson wasn't like a free love everybody person like hippies were, if I can use that, like free love or openness. It wasn't like that for Mrs. Robinson. So I see the women there being two ends of a spectrum and not really being the way women were at that time. So they're just,
And they put it like into a mother-daughter.
a mother-daughter, right?
Mhm. So tell me this, because I don't understand. Why did Benjamin take Elaine to the strip club? What was the purpose of that?
Because
Well-
he was afraid that Mrs. Robinson would get mad at him if he continued to date Elaine. He was trying to
Right. He was trying to get rid of her.
Yeah.
Trying to alienate her.
Yeah.
Okay.
He grew more
Had the worst
attracted to
day possible.
her through the end of the night when he was then
Okay.
sorry for what he had done.
Yeah. Well, that's when I think their relationship started, is when they started to actually talk, you know.
Mhm. Okay, got it now.
One
Thanks.
of the other nuances I was going to mention, I forgot, he was at the Taft Hotel and they had spoken on the phone, he and Mrs. Robinson, to have her come down there. And he was supposed to go get a room, but he didn't have the balls to do it. So he went to have a drink, but he had to hold the door open. And here comes 30 septuagenarians.
Yeah.
And then he has to hold it for 6 or 8 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
that was something.
Again.
I thought that was like classic Mike Nichols comedy. That
Mhm.
scene.
Well, and some of it, the running, the church scene was almost slapstick, I thought. Seemed to me out of place for that, for the film, but maybe just a personal preference.
The church scene?
Well, the running up and then throwing the cross in the door and running down the street after her, and I don't know whether slapstick is the way to call it, but you could almost go back to a Buster Keaton kind of silent movie.
Physical comedy.
Yeah.
Gary, I've got to ask you, did you see an arc here, or was it a circle?
Straight line.
Yeah.
Well, did anybody change? Did they start as one thing and end as another? And I'm not sure there was an awakening.
Well, I think Benjamin, I would just interject here. I think Benjamin realized what he didn't want to do
Right.
Yeah.
pretty intensely and was off on a different pathway.
Yeah, the didn't change is that he didn't know what he was doing at the beginning. And
Right.
at the end, he still
Still
doesn't
didn't.
know what he's doing. What's
But,
next?
you're right, Jeff. It was a full circle. He started from
Yeah.
confused and I'm disillusioned, and he ended up confused and disillusioned at the end. So
Right. But in the meantime, though, he does see what a real relationship is, at least more of a relationship than just sex. So he knew what he didn't want and what he did want, even if it wasn't Elaine and certainly wasn't Mrs. Robinson.
yeah,
And Elaine changed.
he dabbled with the illicit and then dabbled with the traditional, and
Yeah.
and then in the end rejected them both and
Yeah.
tried to figure out another path.
Well, rebellion, I guess, was both of their paths now. But again, it ends up being, okay, now what? We rebelled, now what? Yeah.
When does The Graduate 2 come out?
Buck Henry was offered
It's
a
called The
chance
Big
to do
Chill.
that.
Really?
Oh, the big
Wow.
chill. Yeah.
But with them later in life,
Yeah.
no telling where that would have gone.
Yeah, that could have been pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And Anne Bancroft in real life was married to
Mel
Mel
Brooks.
Brooks.
Who?
Which is Mel
Mel
Brooks.
Brooks.
No,
Really?
I didn't
Oh
know
yeah,
today.
with
That's
them.
crazy.
What a strange relationship, but
They've been happily married for
yeah, for
Long
years and
time.
years.
Well, they were married for 40 when she died.
yeah.
Even though she had an affair with Dustin Hoffman?
They had an open relationship.
Go
Wow.
figure.
But if you've ever seen what was the movie with Mel Brooks and Anne Bancroft? Jack Benny did. It's a remake of a Jack Benny, To Be or Not to Be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of because they got to work together, and that was pretty interesting.
Is that a good movie?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. It's yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's a remake of a Jack Benny and who I don't remember who the woman was. But it's just it's interesting.
It says in
Produced by Mel
Wikipedia,
Brooks.
Pardon me?
in Wikipedia, Dustin Hoffman was already cast in The Producers
Oh.
by Mel Brooks, and he begged him to let him audition for The Graduate, and he got it. So I guess he did.
He begged
both
him to
of
sleep with his wife.
them. Exactly.
One thing I had forgotten over the years too was that she married her husband because they were going to have a child, and that was the only reason.
Yeah.
I thought, is that bad?
Well, it's because you were forced into it.
Yeah. Old Elaine got started out in a Ford.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yes, we're
A
gonna
Fairlane, wasn't it? A Ford Fairlane? Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, that was a good one. Good one to dust off. Oh, I did. I've watched it on Canopy, and it was a 4K restoration.
Ooh.
It was really vibrant. It was a nice version of it.
Oh, good.
So if you get and you could I was going to put that out there for everybody to try to watch it that way. But I don't know. Did anybody else get to see it that way? The 4K restoration?
We don't get Canopy down here,
You don't?
just Hoopla. Yeah. Our library doesn't do Canopy,
Oh,
but
really?
others might have. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not me.
I can't find my library card, so I can't play.
I can barely figure out how to download a book on Libby, let alone Canopy. Do we talk about other things we're watching? Have we squeezed all the
Sure.
life out of this
Yeah.
we can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody here talked about The Studio?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all
I
bit.
brought it up.
yeah, it's good. I've only seen the first two, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's that on, Gary?
Apple
Apple.
Plus, I think. right?
Apple.
Apple.
Really
We're
good.
not there yet. We're still watching Friends and Neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so are we.
How many episodes of that now? 4 or something like that?
4 or 5, I think. And it
Yeah.
only drops one a week. So
I'm 3 into that.
That's the same with Studio. It's a drip at a time.
Yeah.
What are those guys thinking? Don't they realize how
Yeah.
important binging is?
Yeah. Yeah, I like to binge. Yeah.
Yeah, there's this whole debate about whether it's a good idea to stretch it out and hold your members in place, or to dump it and let them get a free membership for 7 days and be done with you. So I think we're seeing the other strategy
Mhm.
now.
Yeah, more like network
point.
TV.
Yeah,
Good point.
Everything goes back to how it used to be in a way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everything old is new
And
again.
then the idea is you get together with your friends the next day and go, "Did you see last night's episode?" Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get some
Next thing you
word
know,
out
there'll
there.
be water coolers.
Yeah.
There's got to be an office first, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
Picky, picky, picky.
Somebody had recommended The Black Bag, and I watched that the other night. That was kind of entertaining.
Mhm.
A little different kind of a spy movie.
Mm-hmm. That's streaming now. I saw it at the movie theater. Man, it made it to streaming quickly.
Yeah.
They all do really anymore.
I think it's it for next week.
What's it streaming on?
I've seen it on Hulu.
Okay.
Has anybody seen Loudermilk?
Yes.
Yes.
I love Loudermilk. Absolutely love it.
What is it?
Oh God.
Well, he's like a Alcoholics
A
Anonymous
reform.
sponsor
Recovery.
counselor
Yeah.
with a really, really bad attitude.
Yeah. That's what I love
And you
about
got to
it.
really want to be sober to put up with him. I mean,
Yeah.
the stuff he puts his folks, but it's very well written and it's clever.
Who is it? Who plays Loudermilk?
God, I don't know.
I
I've
wish
seen him
I-
before, but I don't know.
He's been in a lot of stuff, but
Yeah. But he's got he's sarcastic and cruel but funny. And in many cases, it's like, yeah. Sometimes
He
you
has
kind of
no-
agree with him. Yeah.
he has no filter.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
He sure doesn't.
He lets a lady into a coffee shop, opens the door for her. And then she goes up and starts ordering 40 coffee orders, very specific, custom
Yeah.
for the people in her office. And he goes, "Hey,
What are you doing?
what are you doing? I just wanted a black coffee. You're being selfish here." I mean, he dresses her down. So it's
Like that. Yeah.
Ron Livingston is the guy.
Ron Livingston.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
And some good character development there.
Yeah.
His arc is immovable. He
Yeah.
doesn't change at all.
No, he doesn't.
All the people around him are changing, but he doesn't change at all.
Yeah.
He came pre-arced.
His arc is set in stone.
A night agent is getting a new season. I think that's coming up pretty soon.
wait a sec. Are you talking about a third season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've just started watching the second season.
Second season's good. But
You guys follow Black Mirror?
yes.
I do. Yeah.
Yes. I just saw that. Oh my.
I've started to see websites that say, here are the best Black Mirror episodes ranked. And I
Right.
thought, well, rather than go back to the beginning, I'll just go back to the best ones and work my way back from there.
Yeah. That is interesting because it has changed a lot, I think. Because
But
I
it's just
started
one-
at the very beginning.
It's like
I
Twilight
love
Zone.
the
One
first-
episode stands on its own, right?
Yes.
Kind
Not
of.
a series.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was going to ask, is if it is freestanding stuff.
But
Yes.
they did a sequel to one of the shows. There's one that's kind of a Star Trek,
Oh, yes.
You remember that
Yes.
one?
That's a good one. Yes.
and so they do a sequel to it in this season.
Oh, so you need to know the previous one?
Well, you don't need to, but
But it helps. Yeah.
what's his name? You remember his name, Donna?
The one that plays Captain Kirk or the character.
Yeah, the one who plays Captain
Um,
Kirk.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. We should, but I don't.
He was in Civil War.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of stuff.
The guy that badass. But anyway, yeah, the movie we went and saw last week was The Accountant 2.
And
I mean, I liked it. It was like he's kind of okay, he's autistic, Ben Affleck is. He plays an autistic guy, and he's been trained to be kind of an agent or something. He's like he gets contracted to basically kill people, but mostly they're bad people, so it's okay. And but anyway, we watched it, and then Patty goes, well, we just, Accountant 2 was pretty good. Let's go home and watch Accountant. And so if you do decide to go see it, and I mean, I'm recommending it. It's a pretty good show. Make sure you watch the first Accountant before you do it, because the history, it connects.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen Sinners?
Yes.
What
You
is
have?
it?
I have.
Oh, Sinners.
and
Yeah,
Sinners.
Sinners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, you saw it?
No, it's on my list for sure.
John Twitty and I
Kristen,
have a movie date tomorrow. We're going to go
I
see it.
know. You're double dating or whatever you call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's buying popcorn?
What?
Liquor.
What's that?
I
Who's
said,
buying the
who's buying
popcorn?
popcorn?
Good answer.
John said, you are.
Batson, you're more than welcome to join us. 210 at College Station.
Like I said in my email, don't leave until the last.
Oh,
credit
yes.
roll.
Oh, that was such a good, yes.
You
Keep
don't want to
going.
leave. They yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not just make
la.
sure that you keep watching past the credits. Just
I
Okay.
saw a lot of people leave when
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, boy,
All right.
they missed it.
Good.
Yeah,
on
you gotta stay.
Batson, 210 tomorrow, College Station.
Yeah, I know.
You
I'm in
gotta-
charge of 2 grandkids all
You gotta
week.
wash
My
your
wife's
cat
gone,
tomorrow?
their parents are gone. I got to get to school and get them home, feed them.
By the way, on Tuesdays at Billiards, there's a collection of crusty old men that are getting together and playing pool. And while you have lunch at Billiards, pool is free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So
Yeah, and Gary, we're only like 3 plays away from a free lunch or something.
that's right. We have loyalty cards. Last week when we had our hillbilly hurricane, the only place downtown that had power was Billiards.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it was packed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mahoney, you're welcome. It's a short drive.
Okay.
Bill,
Hop in the car.
yeah. Jeff, Arthur, a little further.
You better
Yeah.
get on the plane tonight.
Who's got
Get in
next?
the transport.
I have the next pick.
Ooh.
Okay, so everybody sit back,
Mhm.
relax, pour yourself a glass of your favorite wine. I don't know which way to go with it here. And we're going to enjoy a trip to the California wine country.
Sideways.
Sideways.
Oh, I love Sideways.
Yes, starring
Great.
Paul Giamatti, Thomas Hayden Church, Virginia Madsen, Sandra Oh, and it's directed by Alexander Payne. And you can find it on Hulu, Amazon, Apple, Fandango, and YouTube. $3.99. I think Apple's $3.79 if you want to save 20 cents. But yes, Sideways, made in 2004.
Yes.
Something I'd like for you to watch for or note is look for a scene or some dialogue that stands out to you.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, we'll talk about that next week because it's kind of fun. So Sideways.
Oh, that'll be great.
All right.
That's the 19th, right?
Yes, 2 weeks from
Yeah.
tonight. Yes.
Do you have a specific scene you want us to indulge in, or
No, I
specific
just
dialogue?
know a couple of them that I watched it with a good friend in California, and we both agreed on the scene and the dialogue in particular that we enjoyed the most. And it happened to be the same. So I just want to see what intrigues you. I mean, there's an awful lot that goes on. So no,
Yeah.
nothing in particular. I'm just curiosity point, I suppose.
Was the good friend in California, Terry?
Yes. Yes.
How's he doing?
He's doing better. He still has a ways to go.
Oh.
a little ways, yeah, with cognitive function, but he's getting there. It's very slow. They ordered another CT scan so they can see how well he is healing. I got to see the original one, and it was much bigger stroke than anybody thought. So he's very, very lucky that he did not have any physical or speech impairment.
Wow.
So he'd love to hear from any of you.
No muscular or nerve damage?
Yep.
Good.
Wow.
Very lucky, but yeah, give him a holler. He'd love to hear from you.
All right.
Do you think you'd like to be kept up to date on movies?
No,
Not really. He's had it.
I was
He's had it
lucky
with
that
me.
we watched this one, Bill. It's like, really? You want to watch a movie? Okay. And he picked it. So this is actually Terry's pick.
Wow.
and around
John, you don't know Terry Atkinson. He was like the curmudgeon of the League of Unpaid Film Critics.
Yeah.
yeah,
If there wasn't enough violence, he would complain that there should have been more violence. And if there was a lot of violence, he would complain that there was too much violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And
could
then
never
you count
figure
the
it out.
guns,
Just-
count the shots or the
just
guns.
pick an old YouTube video from it's about this time last year, I think, that he quit. So just go back to early 2024 or late 2023. And yeah,
Isn't a Clockwork Orange his?
yes,
Probably, yeah.
it
You think
is.
It was
And
not
that-
violent enough or too violent?
That's
That
not the
was-
right.
Oh, yeah,
That was
that's
the right kind of violence.
Just the right
know.
amount.
yeah.
Yeah.
He picked that one in June of 2023 because I joined then in August of 2023, but he happened to be back here for the class of 1971 turning 70 guys party, and he was writing the review for that back in the day when we had to do that. Thank God we don't do that anymore. Yeah, just
And that was a lot of work.
And
Yeah.
he was an original member,
yes.
so he must be respected.
No, he wasn't. He was an add-on. He was an add-on.
Was he?
No, Sanders
yeah.
called him right
No,
away.
Sanders
Yeah.
called him, yeah, and invited him. And then I'm the add-on. Terry added me on and Sanders approved. So here I am almost 2 years later.
It was a close vote, but
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
7-6, all right? It was 7-6.
I didn't get a vote.
We
Well,
voted,
thank
we
you.
voted a proxy for you.
Oh.
You were unanimous.
That's funny.
All right.
Hey,
I'm going to
when you
dinner.
guys see Sinners tomorrow night, see if you don't agree with me, especially Gary, because Gary knew Mike, that this would have been one of Mike's favorite movies.
Well, that's why I invited John. I said, Bill forwarded this thing about Buddy Guy says this movie may have saved the blues. I got to go see this movie. Do you want to go? And he agreed to go.
Yeah.
So we're having a popcorn blues date tomorrow.
Nice.
Right after billiards.
Uh-huh. And,
Wow, whole
and-
day.
and John, you know, it's
Yeah,
not
sounds like an afternoon.
Yeah.
one of the things that after Mike passed away was that we helped out was saving. He did this huge blues art. What do you call it? Blues.
Blues
Blues
Quest.
Quest.
Blues
This
Quest.
quest.
And we
Yeah.
helped to preserve his Blues Quest archive.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He interviewed all the surviving blues masters for years.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I
Interviews
think
with them.
I think he had an interview or two with Buddy Guy.
Yeah.
I'm
Probably.
sure he did. I'm sure he did.
John, remind me tomorrow to tell you my Buddy Guy, Joan Whitaker story.
Okay.
And then tell us next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 weeks. I'll save it for
2
2
weeks.
weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks,
right.
yeah.
All
See
right,
you guys.
All right.
Yeah,
see
All
ya.
right.
Enjoy
Cheers,
yourself.
bye.
Good pick, man. Good pick.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Cinco.
Good
There you
pick.
go.
Yeah,
Good pick,
Cinco de
Mike.
Mayo.
Yes. Good
Bye,
job, Mike.
everybody.